Steam Up is a 2 to 5 player game for ages 14 and up with an average gameplay length of 45 to 60 minutes, published by Hot Banana Games. The basic overview of Steam Up has players collecting food tokens in order to purchase steamers in their feast zone. That way they can gain Hearty points. Points vary depending upon the type of dim sum and the character you play as. Throughout the game, players can play or discard fortune cards to apply effects and rotate the turntable. After each round, a fate card is played that can either help or hinder for the next round. Once either the steam track reaches 0 or the fate deck is emptied, the game ends and the player with the most Hearty points wins. To set up the game, place the turntable in the middle of the table. Next, depending upon the number of players, use the feast zone indicator ring with the number of dots matching the number of players. Place the ring on the turntable with the orange line in between the two orange arrows. You may need to turn the middle platform so it lines up properly. Near the turntable, separate and place each of the food tokens and lucky die. Next, place the scoreboard nearby with the steam counter on the steam track. The starting location depends upon the number of players. If a 2 to 3 player game, place it on 12. If 4 players, place it on 16, and if 5 players, place it on 18. Shuffle the fortune cards and place them on the scoreboard here, and then shuffle the fate cards and place them just below the fortune cards here. Now let's set up the steamers by making 3 groups of 6 steamers. Place all dim sum pieces into the bag and shake it around and mix up the dim sum. Then randomly start pulling out dim sum. In the first group of 6 steamers, place 2 dim sums per steamer. The second group of steamers, place 3 dim sums each. And in the third group of 6 steamers, place 4 dim sum in each steamer. Leave any extra dim sum in the bag and place it nearby. Shuffle around the dim sum filled steamers and randomly stack them into 6 stacks 3 steamers tall. Then place 1 in each of the open areas on the turntable. Now for the player setup. Make sure you are sitting close to your feast zone. The lines on the feast ring will let you know where each feast zone starts and ends. If you need extra help to identify the feast zones, you can place the feast zone markers on the feast ring to make it more clear where each feast zone starts and ends. Then give each player 2 random animal boards. If this is your first game, it is recommended to use animals with the hot tea icon. Also, some animals have a set of chopsticks plus 3, meaning they are recommended for games with 3 or more players. Now each player will choose one of the 2 animals to play as and place the other back in the box. Collect the matching animal meeples and place them in the VIP guest area on the scoreboard. Finally, each player will look at the top of their player board and collect their starting resources. The circle refers to food tokens and the rectangle refers to fortune cards. Then choose a first player at random and give them the first player marker. And with that, setup is complete. Starting with the first player and going clockwise, each player will take 2 different actions in any order. But remember, you cannot take the same action twice in one turn. Some animals have special abilities that can be activated at any time during their turn and do not count as an action. For example, the rat can discard a fortune card and roll the lucky die for a bonus. All special abilities are described at the top of each player board. The first action that can be taken is to gain a food token. With this action, you can choose to collect any token that is available. You can have any number of food tokens. However, if at any time all 10 tokens of a certain dim sum are not available, that dim sum is considered sold out and cannot be collected until one is returned to the supply. The next action that can be taken is to draw a single fortune card and rotate the turntable. This action has you draw a fortune card and gives you the option to rotate the turntable 90 degrees in any direction. You do not have to, but if you choose to, the easiest way to know if you're doing it right is to find the orange arrow on the turntable and move it towards one of the closest arrows with the dashed line. This changes the orientation of the steamers, but not the orientation of your feast zone. The third action has you play a fortune card from your hand and rotate. This action requires you to have a fortune card, and you must resolve the effect. Once resolved, place it in the fortune discard pile on the scoreboard. A couple examples of fortune cards can have the first player marker changing hands, rolling the lucky die, or even gaining dim sum. And again, you can, but do not have to, rotate the turntable. If you do, only rotate it 90 degrees. The fourth action that can be taken is to exchange 2 fortune cards for 1 food token. This action is pretty straightforward. Discard 2 fortune cards from your hand and collect a single food token of your choice. And the final and most important action option is to purchase a steamer. You can purchase a steamer in your feast area by spending food tokens that match the dim sum inside the steamer. Once purchased, you will place the dim sum on your board, and then you'll move the steamer tracker down 1 and gain the Hearty points. Then place the steamer near your player board. Each player board has different Hearty points for each dim sum, since some animals prefer certain dim sum over others. You will place the dim sum you have purchased on the leftmost empty location of the matching dim sum and score that number of points for each dim sum added. Some animals have special bonuses for filling in a column. For example, the pig food blogger gains an additional 3 Hearty points for each fully filled column. Once all players have taken their 2 actions, the round will end and a fate card will be revealed and resolved. Some cards have immediate effects, like each player giving 1 of their food tokens, if they have any, to the player to their right. Or there will be during this round effects and last the entirety of the next round, such as during this round when a player takes the draw fortune action, they may draw 2 fortune cards instead. Then the next round will begin. The first player marker will not move unless a card declares it. If the first player marker changes hands, the round will still end once every player has taken their turn, but the next round will start with the player that has the first player marker and go clockwise in this new order. Continue like this until either the fate deck is empty or, more likely, the steam tracker reaches 0. Finish the current round and then proceed to final scoring. Each player will gain an additional point for every 2 fortune cards and lose 1 point for every 2 leftover food tokens. And the player with the most points wins. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified about new videos. If you're bored now, click this for more games.